I believe we're up and live. Live.
We are. We are. The Twitch, as they say, as the young folks say.
We're live on Twitch, YouTube, and X. The worst. God, it still bugs the crap out of me. The one social media outlet that I actually enjoyed.
They
Got
got you.
it was already a cesspool of terrible, but it got
Oh,
ruined. Ruined even
yeah.
more. It was a cesspool of terrible that I could handle.
I,
Uh
I don't know if I could have handled it. I never liked Twitter.
yeah, yeah.
Never got big into it at all. Just I don't know. I don't know. You see, I don't self promote, so I don't like just speaking to just just
No.
to just no one. Just like
You
I'm
know what?
crookedly old man. Here
That
it
it
is.
actually is a lot of that. You have to do a lot of. It's just, it's building like brand building. I'm just so terrible at it.
My friend, he's like, I love Twitter. I just go on Twitter just to troll people. I'm like, what? Are you that person? He's like, yes, I love it. He's like, I love getting into Twitter arguments with people. I was like, he does it for fun. That's his fun.
Oh, yeah, I can't do that. I don't like to troll. I use it primarily only now for like sports information.
Mm-hmm.
Well, usually by sports information, it's the endless cesspool of hot takes,
Bears. Yeah.
and or engagement farming, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. I
Uh,
just I
mm.
get my sports this old fashioned way in a newspaper
You
that I
know,
go downstairs
newspaper,
that I go downstairs and get because I have it delivered daily.
hot off the presses and right to your
Hot off.
ears via Harland. This
That's the only
is,
way I get my sports news. What is this ESPN new thing out there?
well, this is TDs and Tangies, TD and
Mm-hmm.
T's, TDs and T's. Dynamite. Harlan froze. I lost Harland.
Is it me?
You're back. You were
I'm back.
frozen.
It was my network. I was looking, everything was frozen. Like the oh, I'm frozen again.
No, you're there.
My
I see
okay,
you.
it says my internet is unstable.
Well, that I agree with.
Close some of these tabs
You just
as
got too many
Chrome
tabs.
is notorious for being stupid. But yes, okay. But yes, we're here. I'm Harlan, and that was Derek. I know he probably
I'm
said that
Derek.
while
No,
I
I
was
didn't. I said
frozen.
Harlan's frozen. You were frozen like this.
What was that with my George Foreman smile?
Yeah.
My-
Yep. Staring off into the distance with a big grin. That's Harlan. This is TDs and Tangents. TDs and
Oh,
T's. We may have a new
yes.
name sometime soon. It
We
depends
should
on
probably get a new name soon, but we just can't think. We had a hard time coming up with the name
with
we
this one.
currently have.
And then the fact that somebody else has it but spells out the word touchdown.
They don't understand how abbreviations work, how they're
No.
shorter.
And not just any abbreviation, that is a commonly
The abbreviation.
accepted TD touchdown.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here we are.
Here we are. Another week.
So one of the things about football that has creeped into my everyday life, and you won't appreciate. Well, you may appreciate, it, but you might not like it. Who knows? Is every time I get the kids to get moving, like in the morning, or like out to the car or whatever, or like you know how like once you become a dad, you start doing stuff like,
Mhm.
up here we go. Like when the cars, I do the Dak Prescott. Here we go for everything now. Set bringing dinner to the table. Here we go. That's I do it for everything.
And they're like, "What? What are you
Yeah, oh,
talking
they
about?"
hate it. They absolutely hate it. But I enjoy it. Here we
Of
go.
course, you're doing it for yourself. You're
Yeah.
not doing it for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, I don't care what they think. Yeah, it is what it is. Oh, but you know who? Well, I don't even know why we're talking about Dak Prescott because he had nothing to do with this last week of football.
Oh no, 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 no! But we knew he wasn't gonna have anything about to do with this football. Probably sometime in August. I
Hmm.
could have told you that the conference finals week, there would be one person who's definitely not gonna be in it. It would have been Dak Prescott.
It is Dak Prescott. He was not involved at all, but who was involved? Oh, Christ. We had. So I apologize now to any Baltimore Ravens fan that
You gave him
listens
the
to
curse of
this.
death.
It is, I do it. I don't mean to do it. Teams that
You
I
like the
like,
team?
I destroy them.
It's like Tommy Boy when he was talking about how his sail.
Yeah, the
Oh
little
my
wingy.
God.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's me. I
Hmm.
destroy it. And you should have known from if we were doing this in week one when I picked the Ravens then that you should have just abandoned all hope.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what,
Hmm.
my pick on the Niners, I haven't been very confident about it the last 2 weeks.
Oh,
And I'm not confident about keeping them, but like I said, I gotta ride what I what I came with. And uh
well, when we talk about the 49ers, I'll tell you how I made them win
okay.
or I allowed them to win.
You
Because
finally started rooting for the Lions?
no,
Halftime?
we'll get
Oh.
there. We'll get there. My power is strong. I don't mean to do it. It just happens. It's like, it's like Midas, but like worse.
But worse, just poop. Just touch everything turns to
Yeah,
poop when you
everything turns
touch
to
it.
shit. Yeah, it doesn't matter what I do. I don't want it to, but it does. I mean, at least gold I could sell. All right.
Some people you can sell poop.
Oh, that is true. There's services you can buy.
I was gonna say Vince McMahon. I was gonna throw that out there.
Now, I kind of steered clear of the whole Vince McMahon thing.
Oh boy.
I don't want to.
Oh,
I don't want to know because not because I like the man or because like he's some weird like it ruins my childhood or some shit like that. I just don't. I don't. I don't.
it's creepy.
I
So
yeah.
like I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna say if you get a chance, she released the text messages that he sent her.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't want.
Text messages are kind of crazy.
I
The
don't want to read
text
them
messages are
it's
kind of crazy.
it's like terrible crazy. And I don't want to read. I don't want
But
to
it's to
be.
me, it's bad mainly because it's it's like text messages. It's like the text message you sent your wife would get out in public. You don't really want everything that you say to your wife or someone that you are sexually attracted to get out. And his did. So it sounds
I'm gonna be real
bad.
honest. This weird like text message. I don't like to put anything personal in any sort of communique. So most of
Just
the,
out there that anyone can read it. Just
you
like,
never know. Like particularly because if the kids grab the phone or something like that,
yes.
I'm always afraid of that. And or because we have Apple devices, they all seem to like
Eh,
sync together. And the last thing I want is some like weird ass thing like sync into my kid's iPad while she's watching Bluey. You know?
yes. I was talking to my buddy Turner and I sent him a picture of something I 3D printed and he said it was very funny because Siri just said Harlan text you. Oh, and it started reading the picture. It was like, oh, Harlan is holding what looks like a mask with holes in it, and it's a red mask with holes in it. And I was like, that's creepy. Do you really want series describing your junk out loud?
Yeah, it's a Your husband just texted you a picture of a mangled mess that he calls a penis. It's laughable. Thanks, Siri.
I'm actually admiring how you stayed with him this long time.
It's like,
Siri starts instantly judging you.
Yes, Siri, do you derive pleasure from this in any way whatsoever? It's got to be some sort of either a dare or a challenge. Oh,
This can't be his. This can't be his.
yeah.
But yeah, no. No, but that was yeah. I'm sorry to go to the selling poop and then taking it there. But
That's all right. It's tangents, right?
yes.
Well, back to TDs and how few of them were scored in the
Oh,
Chiefs and the Ravens game.
yeah, I want to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I watched that game almost in its entirety, and
Mhm.
and the results of that game made me not want to watch the Detroit Lions versus the San Francisco 49ers.
I was so upset at the end of the game. Not Bears losing to the Packers upset. It was more
Yes.
like a oh god.
This is what, yeah, because you knew what was going to happen. You knew all the people were going to talk about Lamar choking. He
Yeah.
can't really do this, and you know that they were the best team in football.
They were.
pretty much the second half of the season, if not the whole season.
It, the opening 2 drives, well, 3 drives, because the Ravens punted on the first drive. Kansas City goes down and scores. Touchdown to
Yep.
Kelsey. Like a crazy pass. I don't even know how he caught it. He was covered, like had a guy
Going,
on him, right?
yeah, falling backwards. It looks like
Yeah.
it was
And then the Ravens get the ball back, and Lamar does Lamar things. He's like,
things that only Lamar can do. When I saw that touchdown, I said, there are not many quarterbacks in this league. There might be only one person who could have done what he did on that touchdown play.
now making the throw from a standstill. There's quite a few quarterbacks
Yes.
who do that. Escaping the sack, staying upright, spinning around, and then just turning and making the throw. Come on.
His eyes never left downfield.
No.
And that's the difference between this year's Lamar and previous. He was looking to make that pass.
Yes.
Just looking for it.
He, when they came in the league, and everybody's like, he's better suited to be a wide receiver. He should be
saw that Mel Kiper
running back. Like all those things. The Ravens said he's gonna be a quarterback. He has evolved into one of the best passers, I think, in the game, and he's able to still do the running, but it's not run first, or it's not like a coin toss while I run or while I throw. It's I'm going to throw. Okay, now I'll run if I have to.
I am now at the point where I'm like, Lamar, I need you to run more. I need you to run more. I need to see you got to give him a little bit. But he
ran quite a bit in this game, and he ran way more than his running backs did.
I will tell you, there was that play that he broke the middle, and I was like, Lamar, you could have taken that one to the house. That was a house call.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you slow down?
Yeah.
I don't know. He kept looking back at the guy instead of just going straight for it. It looked like it should have been a house call. He was way faster than that linebacker that was trying to cover him.
Yeah, it looked like he wanted to go in one direction, and then he went in another direction, and it just ended up, not being what it should have been. He did so many crazy Lamar things in this game, right? He did that touchdown throw. He completed a pass to himself on a bad,
which
ball.
I thought was a house call too.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh my god, he's not going to get stopped. Which, if he would have done that, how crazy that would have been! One of the greatest plays in football history.
Crazy. I was looking at it like, what? Everyone thought that ball was going to touch the ground except for him,
or be intercepted.
Or intercepted.
Yeah.
But you see everyone almost looking around, waiting for the ball to do something, and he's the only one who's like, all right, I guess I'll go get it.
Yeah. I think that, I can't remember which lineman off the Chiefs turned around and was kind of like trotting to it, because it was like a lazy pop-up. Like like he didn't have to move far to get it, so he was taking his time, and Lamar just zoomed in and grabbed it.
and then everyone went from relaxed to, oh no, we got to tackle.
We got to tackle the biggest man on the field now. So that happened. Like, that's just a crazy play that only he makes. The things that killed me, he had the 2 turnovers. One was the strip sack fumble.
That was a good fumble.
It was.
That was a Minahu? That was a Charles Minahu?
Yeah, I don't remember who did it.
I think he tore his ACL on that play? Because he's out.
Yeah, I don't think it was that play, but yeah. Okay.
But he had a good game. Him and Chris Jones were in that backfield.
I think we talked about last time. I think Chris Jones is like one of the
underrated,
just insane,
spectacular players.
Like, he just does not get the talk that like Aaron Donald gets, or even like Javon Hargraves got last year. He's just man, he's just so good from the interior like that. The strip sack, yeah, that sucked. They only scored,
but that didn't kill him.
No,
because after that strip sack, they get a 4-down stop, which was a great 4-down stop.
Yeah.
A great 4-down stop on them, which I didn't think, because I thought that if they went up 14 to, it would have been 14-7 at that. No, it was been 21-7.
Yeah.
Because they'd already had 14 points, I believe. So it would have been 21-7. And I was like, that's going to be tough. Or at least 17. And I was like, that's going to be tough. And they were able to stop them.
Yep.
And it just could not. Every drive they had ended in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
Well, you would think some teams would settle for field goals. They were ending in turnovers.
Did 2 turnovers on downs. They just could not move the ball the way to. But I mean, the Chiefs' defense is really good. Like,
Steve Spagnuolo is, like I said, former Giants defensive coordinator when we won our first one. He just has a knack for he's not known for blitzing all the time.
mm-hmm.
He's just known like situational blitzes is really good at it, and he knows the team that he has, and he uses the talent very well
Yeah.
because he's running an entirely different defense than the one he ran with the Giants, and he's like, and people forget he was head coach one time. Now he probably should never do that again, but he was a
will, but
good
man. He
yeah.
So the Chiefs only scored 17 points the entire game, and they
and
all happened in the first half.
and 3 was on some plays. I don't think that field goal drive at the end of the first half, the one that they got almost 60 yards in penalties.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I saw something that they was talking about before the game that the head referee of that game, the head umpire of that game,
I saw
he is not the best for the home team.
Yeah.
He calls more penalties against the home team than on average any other ref does. And I was like, all right, I don't like that stat, but that got to be made up, right? That can't be.
If it's not made up, I think it just feels it's not. It's a talking point for conspiracy theorists.
Yes.
Who need something to latch on to. If it's not the Taylor Swift psyop.
Let's not talk about. Oh, I thought you was gonna talk about. I've been seeing everyone talking about her number 13 being all over this place. I don't need to.
If it's not for that or the colors on the logo, or it's always something, right? I will admit though the officiating in football has been terrible this year. It has not been a very good year for football, but that was, and even though the outcome was suboptimal for my taste and interest, it was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game. Not what I wanted, but I'm gonna tell you what makes me upset is when drives end the way their drives were ending.
Mm-hmm.
Like I seen them like between the 20s, they were probably a better team. They was moving the ball, especially in that second half, right? The 2 turnovers that they had in the second half, the Zay Flowers fumble and that last interception, those are points. Those are points.
Let's talk about the Zay Flowers fumble. How
it goes into
had
what we said last week.
He had the worst best drive in the history of football, probably. He catches that pass, the 51-yard pass. The dude was hanging on his leg. He gets up, gives him the shove off. The shove off could have been, they might have looked away, right? Like,
yes.
Okay. But then he takes the football and spins it on him and
stands over
him. And so he gets a taunt penalty. So that's 15 yards. And I don't care much for the taunt penalty, but if they're going to call taunt penalties,
that's the one you call.
That's the one they're going to call every time.
That's the one you have to call.
Yes. Now,
I see what
Then, so they backs it up 15 yards. Then they get it back down, and he gets the pass, and he's going to get it down within the 5. He could have lowered his shoulder and just blasted his way into the end zone, because I think he would have had it. Because everybody was kind of like, it was one of those plays where if you just take the right angle and blast in, you're going to score. All you do is break the plane. Instead, he dove, and he stuck out that hand to hold the ball, and that ball got peanut punched out at the 1. At the damn 1, and goes into the end zone. I'm like, it's going to go out of bounds. No, it was covered up immediately by the defense. Touchback. End of drive.
We talked about it last week. I said, listen, I know everyone knows you're not supposed to do it, but when you see that end zone and when you see that line, and all you have to do is get the ball to break that line, it's almost impossible not to do it.
Yeah,
like. It's so difficult to not reach out and stretch it to when all you have to do. The minute it crosses over there, they can punch the ball out. It doesn't matter. But if that ball crosses that thing, you're good. And Unfortunate for him.
Yes.
He's a rookie, and you like to think that, oh, we'll get back here next year. I don't think he realizes
How impossible that is
how
sometimes.
it could be impossible, especially as a rookie. He says you get there, you may not have the same team next year. An injury can happen. They may not get there again. That could hurt him. I hope it doesn't. I think that the Ravens, as long as they have Lamar there and as long as they have
They'll
Harbaugh
always
there,
be competitive.
they'll be competitive, which means they have a
They'll
chance.
always be
So
there. And I really like Zay Flowers. And now if we were doing this podcast back at draft time last year,
that was your guy.
I told you
That was
repeatedly,
your
I'm like, you got
guy.
to get this
That was
guy.
your
Like, when the
guy.
Giants have Zay Flowers on the board, you have to draft him there.
He wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there.
He wasn't there when we had our chance.
Now, the third quarter, here's how the possessions went: 3-and-out for the Chiefs, 3-and-out for the Ravens, 8 plays, 23 yards punt for the Chiefs, 7 plays, 31 yards punt for the Ravens, 3-and-out for the Chiefs. Those were all of the drives going up to that point. None of them lasted over 2 minutes. Oh wait, 7 plays, 31 yards, 434. The rest were all under 2-minute drives. Then the 5-play, 63-yard, 57-second drive that ends in the fumble. Should have been a touchdown. Should have made it 17-14 on the spot. 7 plays and a punt for the Chiefs. 7 plays, 32 yards. They didn't move the ball at all in the second half. Then Lamar gets the ball back. 12 plays, 74 yards. Almost 4 minutes off the clock. 12 plays. It's so many. Interception over the middle. God, is that a killer? And
it was the for me, cut the game off. I don't want to watch them lose, and I know they're not going to win. At that point in time, that was pretty much it for me. I knew it couldn't be done, and that's what, like I said, I was soured from football after that.
They're at the 25, maybe you're at the 30. And I know you seem to think that Isaiah Likely was open over the middle. He had three dudes on him.
I don't think, like I said, the open is different, right?
Yeah.
He could have thrown him open. He may not have been open, but when he puts his hand up, he is behind the safety, the cornerback, both safeties and the cornerbacks. If Lamar leads him to the back of that end zone, and we know he has the arm to do it, you don't put that ball anywhere where any of the defenders can get it, especially when Likely is behind them. He's behind them.
Here's my only thing. Deion Branch is over past the left hash, and he's kind of playing like a float. He's playing the zone there to keep the OBJ crosser covered, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Likely's hand goes up, Branch is behind. Branch is deeper than him, right?
He is, but he's not even moving at that time. He is still waiting
forward on Lamar, and as soon as he sees the hand goes up, he drifts that way. And as soon as he sees Lamar commit, he turns and runs. He's never more than a yard or two behind him.
But he is starting at a standstill where Likely is running at full. That's why Likely put his hand up, because he's like, I know I can get to that spot.
He's never more than 6 feet away from the man. So unless Lamar drops the ball from like a perfectly vertical drop where there's no arc, it doesn't come down because of gravity with the forward velocity, just straight down. There's no spot where he can put that ball. There just isn't.
The back of the end zone is that spot, because if he continues on the path that he was going, because Lamar makes him change his path, his running path, because Lamar throws that ball behind him even when he's cutting. So he has to slow down to turn back to try to get the ball. And that slowing him down, was able to get the DB who was backpedaling to be able to make a break on the ball.
He is a DB on his back the whole way, and the DB pushes him, right?
He gives pass interference.
It is pass interference. That should have been a flag, not called. Fine. Now the nickelback was there, and
he was in position. He was good, but
I think he was playing under. He was under by about 5. If anyone got beat on the play, it was him. Deion Branch on the other side, though, was there, and the only reason that, if you look at the diagram, you see it. He catches it is he has to slow down and change his trajectory to intercept the ball.
Exactly, but him changing he's not really changing it. He's already moving towards that side, so it makes him because he's on the right of Likely, right? And if Likely keeps going past him, there's no way he can turn his body and go around to the other side.
I think the only possible good outcomes of that play, if he's going to throw it there, is if he throw it out of the back of the end zone because it's not getting caught by anybody.
I think that's the best place to throw it, though, because Likely's got
zone, uncatchable situation, or it's so high that only Likely can reach up and grab it. I don't see where you have three guys in front of the play where there's nowhere to go in the back. Like, you can't lead him downfield. He's got a hard stop at the back of the end zone where they're ever truly beat, because they're always within 6 feet of him, and the DB's on his ass the whole time.
The DB has to interfere with him just if
he stopped, right? And then
exactly. So if he doesn't stop, that DB's not even on him because he has to slow down. He has to slow down for the DB guys have arms, to interfere.
And they stick them out, right? They jump and they stick out arms. So I hate that
it's a bad throw by Lamar.
It's a bad throw. I hate that we have to argue the semantics of the bad throw. He was not open. If anything, he could have waited for Bateman a little bit, maybe on the outside.
It's like
it's like
when It's like when Randy Moss used to put his arm up to say I'm open when he was still 2 yards behind the receiver because he knew that I'm going to blow past him even though I may not be open right now. Look at me, I'm open. That's what he would do. He would sit there and wave his hands. He hasn't even engaged with the DB yet. He's like, no, but this guy cannot get me in the position that he's at. And I think that's what Likely saw. Likely said, I'm past them. They can't get me where I'm at. All you have to do is throw the ball where I'm telling you to throw it. But Lamar doesn't do that. That ball is nowhere near where he's
never open though. That's the thing. He is. If there's a window,
throw me open. Throw me open.
There's no way. There's somebody over on that side. You can't throw into a man to make him open. You just can't do it. So
he would have been open.
No. So the best possible outcome there is to hold on to the ball because there's no pass rush. He's got a clean pocket. So if nothing's open, then you just run. There was no reason to throw to the end zone. It wasn't like a fourth. It wasn't like a.
He could have dropped that ball in perfectly
into
his breadbasket.
He would have had to get on his little Lakitu cloud from Mario, float over there and drop the ball down into the back of the end zone where only Likely can get it. That's the only way.
It reminded me of the Santonio Holmes touchdown in the play. Like, there's only one place you could throw that ball to get them that open. I think Lamar is that good where he could have placed that ball in a place where only Likely would have had it. At least had an opportunity. Like you said, either throw it as far back in the back of the end zone. If you throw that ball in the back of the end zone, Likely is there before anyone else is there.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I just think the pass was so badly thrown that it makes it look like it was triple coverage. When I think that if that ball was placed differently, you may only see one guy there instead of three.
No,
and
you're going to see all three.
No,
they're all there.
They're all there because that ball is so thrown. Like you said,
they're all there because the ball is thrown to him and he's covered.
That nickel back was 5 yards back.
Yeah, he was playing the under, right? There's a DB on him,
a
safety coming up, and a nickel underneath. There's nowhere to throw that ball. Everywhere you pause that, there's 3 red and 1 purple. There's no open.
But the purple is behind all of them.
He's not behind. No, see, okay.
He's behind him with like 3-4 yards in front of him.
But he's
That's
not.
what you're throwing.
He's not behind him with endless field. He can't lead him 30 yards downfield to drop it.
Exactly. He can't.
He's got a hard out.
He does. But you got to throw it out that way.
There's nowhere to throw it out that way. There's a damn safety over there. That's what the safety.
No,
the
safety would not have got there.
There's nowhere to throw that ball.
Safety.
Just don't throw that ball. There's no need to force that ball. There's no need.
I don't think this. You're right. You're right about that. But I don't think Lamar was mad because he threw a pass he shouldn't have thrown. I think Lamar was mad that he knows he could have got that ball in there and he threw a bad pass.
Well,
Not that he threw into triple coverage, but because he knows he threw a bad pass.
I'll agree with that. It was a very bad pass. It was a questionable decision. We'll agree at questionable.
Yes, we are.
I feel it was bad. You feel it was.
I feel like he could make that throw.
Yes,
that's what I mean. Like there's some people that I'd be like, don't you ever throw that pass. If Daniel Jones is throwing that, don't you ever throw it into that. But I felt like he could have made that pass. I've seen him make those passes.
There's probably a few guys that you like. If Mahomes throws that, you're like, all right. Josh Allen throws. Josh Allen does nothing but throw those, right?
That's what I mean.
Like, all right. So like Herbert, he throws those. All right. Like you live with the turnovers.
How many times have you seen Aaron Rodgers throw that pass as a Hail Mary and it goes straight to the guy he wanted to go to? How many times? I'm
gonna tell you what, if Aaron Rodgers throws that ball, it doesn't get picked off somehow. Like even like there's just no like that man somehow evades all interceptions and sacks. I just don't understand how it works. So then they turn over the ball. Then they force Kansas City to punt again. Then they get the ball back and score the field goal. You're like, okay, great.
Field goal. Mm-hmm.
Then like we just gotta get the ball back. There's 2:34 on the clock. We just got to stop Kansas City. They get 3rd and 9. They burn their last timeout with 2:10 left on the clock. So if they stop them at 3rd and 9, you get a 2-minute warning.
You get 2 minutes.
You get the punt, and then you have almost like a full minute 45, minute 50. The full clock, no timeouts. But that doesn't matter because all of their scoring drives have all been quick. They moved the ball down pretty quick a couple times. Just didn't score a whole lot. 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9. That's such a huge.
You send in the house. You got to blitz him on 3rd and 9.
Yeah, and you can't play soft because you got to keep him. You got to keep him from underneath.
You got to get that ball out Mahomes' hands as fast as you possibly can. If he can get a quick out, he gets a quick out. But you got to get that ball out of his hands fast.
What's he do? Throw a 50-yard bomb and complete it, and the game's over. Like, how does that even happen? How does that even happen?
Oh, that guy! I don't know. I don't know what's up with Mahomes.
You can't. He's to me, that right there is the equivalent of Jordan versus the Cavaliers.
The jump shot.
I mean, there's you don't even have to score a touchdown to win this. You just have to get 9 yards, and then you get 40, right? On a perfectly placed go ball. Like how they just drops right in the breadbasket. First down, game over. Come on. Come on.
Yeah. They have some luck on their side. They have skill on their side.
Mahomes is so good. He's so good.
He's carrying that team.
The thing is,
and the defense. Between him and the defense, because if you'd have told me that the defense was going to hold the Ravens to 10 points, I'd have called you a fool. I'd have called you an idiot.
Well, if you would have told me that the Ravens would hold the Chiefs to 17, I was like, well, it's a Baltimore Super Bowl.
Exactly.
How could it not be?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. If you'd have told me that, it's going to be 17-24, I'd say, yeah, that's the game. That's because I don't see how the Chiefs can contain Lamar Jackson. That's what I would have said. But if you'd told me that the Chiefs would have held them to 10 points, I don't know. But that was kind of some of the doing of the Ravens. How dare they run the ball 6 times?
6 times with running backs. Gus Edwards has 3 carries, 20 yards. Justice Hill, 3 carries, 3 yards. Zay Flowers had 2 carries. Lamar had 8, and that's it. They were averaging like 20 carries a game, 20 plus carries a game by the running backs. And they just totally abandoned the whole run game. And I don't know if that was Kansas City dictating it, but Kansas City, the game was never unreachable. There was no point where it was like, well, this is a blowout. Can't win this one.
No.
Gotta throw.
And on the flip side, on the other game, that game was a blowout.
Okay. So now do you want to know?
And they didn't stop the run.
Do you want to know how I enabled the San Francisco victory?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I watched the first half, and I was like, "Oh God, this is terrible." Like the Detroit Lions are up 24-7 at half. They're going to win. They're going to go to the goddamn Super Bowl. So then I'm like, okay, the 49ers get the ball back.
You
With
took
the
out your Barry Sanders jersey.
Yes, no. Took out the Barry Sanders jersey. I said, "Go Detroit." No, I watched the opening drive of the second half, and I was sitting there with my kid, and I was like, "49ers have to score a touchdown here." And like right after I said that, uh,
With the Christian McCaffrey.
what's his face, the tight end from the Carolina Panthers.
Cat-
That is the
Oh, Greg
announcer.
Olsen.
Greg Olsen goes, San Francisco really has to score a touchdown here. I'm like, see, I told you. I told you. And they got a field goal. I'm like, I don't think that's enough. So I turned off the game. I turned it off. And we watched Doctor Who. But I had ESPN open on my phone. And I was like, okay, you know, da da da. And then it was all of a sudden they scored a touchdown. I was like, oh, they scored a touchdown. He was like, I don't care. I'm like, okay. Then they scored another touchdown. I mean, they scored another touchdown. She's like, oh, that's interesting. And then they scored another touchdown. I was like, how is this happening? And the game was like getting close to the end. It was like the last 5 minutes. I'm like, we have to turn this Doctor Who off. We got to watch the rest of this game. Because I was watching the game, the Lions were winning because I had no interest in the Lions winning. But because I turned it off, my active eyes allowed the 49ers. They said, pressure's off. We can do this now. And it happened.
I can see it. I can see it. That is going to hurt them. I just like I said, like like I said, Zay Flowers doesn't realize how difficult it is to get back. Lions fans do, and they know they might have missed one.
It was the first time back in 30 years.
They know that they should have been in that championship, in that Super Bowl.
They were there.
They were there. The confetti was they were shipping confetti from Detroit right now. Confetti was on the plane. They were going to drop it there in San Francisco.
Yep.
God, I don't know. Of course, we know that Dan Campbell doesn't like kicking field goals, apparently, but
no, he doesn't.
I can't blame it on that though.
No,
they got beat like a drum in that second half.
That second half, it looked foolish.
They got beat bad.
I've watched the game since because NFL Network will replay them at night. Sometimes if I can't fall asleep, I'll watch old football games. Yeah, it was embarrassing. The second half was. Like even that touchdown they scored in the fourth quarter. When they scored it, you're just like, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Like they're not going to win this game. There's no way they come back and win this game.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about the Brock Purdy throw to Brandon Ayuk.
Ooh. Well, I didn't see it. Like I said, I didn't watch the game.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. You haven't seen this. Well, I'm gonna have to pull it up because holy shit, how have you not seen this? This is
I don't know.
Oh, this is the turning point of the whole game. Let me see if I can find it real fast. So here it is.
Tip drill.
Oh, it's
Brock Purdy goes deep to Brandon Ayuk for 51 yards.
Yeah, well, let me pull it up real quick. Purdy. Oh, I was hoping it'd just be on Twitter because then I could just throw.
I think it's on 49ers.com.
Oh, I'm sure it's on the 49ers. So let me. Oh, here it is. Right. All right. Let me pull it up because here it is. Bam. Oops. Oh no. There it is.
Okay.
This is the game-changing play right here. I think this is it. I hope
24-24.
Oh, this isn't it. Son of a gun. Why would I see this? I don't want to watch this play. Who cares about this? Now I gotta. Oh, that's the most worthless play I've ever seen. He's voided a sack. Don't look at it. Don't look it up, Harland, because I'm going to show it and I want to see your reaction to it.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I guarantee it's on the 49ers Twitter. We'll just go there real fast. There's no way it's not on there. I'm sure they've been like showing this. You got to show it every chance you can get. Come on.
I was looking at that play like, whoa. what's going to happen here? And then he threw
It's not that
a
one.
10-yard out, a 10
Yeah,
yard out.
yeah. Whoop-de-doo. So here's what happens. Every quarterback, I don't care who you are, I don't care how good you are, you have to have a certain level of luck. And you're a Giants fan, so you have to appreciate that, right?
Oh yes, I appreciate a little bit of luck. Yes,
You know, David Tyree catching on his helmet
will never happen again.
will never happen again.
They could have done that play 100 times that night. It wouldn't have happened
But
that way again.
this is as close as you will get to that. And this is an interesting angle for it. Come on, just God bless it. Let me resize real fast. There we go. This is about as good as it.
Okay, wide
Deep.
open, deep. Oh, oh, oh! Is that a touchdown?
To the 4. Off of Kendall Vildor's face mask.
Get out of here!
Into Brandon Ayuk's hands. Down to the 4. This
At that point in time, as a Lions fan or as a Lions player, you have to know this isn't your day.
Yeah. That is the play that
What down was that though? Do we have a down in distance?
I want to say it was like 1st and 10, maybe. I mean, it was
Okay. But
it wasn't like they needed to pick
the face
off the face mask. It was a duck. It was not a cleanly thrown ball. So
that was horrible throw. That was a horrible throw.
look how wobbly it is. But right off through his hands, off the face mask. Brandon Ayuk has the wherewithal to just go out and get it. It's one of the greatest plays I've ever seen.
If it was a spiral, he might have caught it.
Yes.
It was a spiral.
So that was the play. And Purdy saw it like instantly. He knew what the play was. He knew that Ayuk had him beat. So a lot like, but Ayuk had the steps on him. And then there's
Purdy threw that up wildly.
It was the right read. It was a terrible throw, and it's amazing end. And that was like the downfall right there because they score on that. The next possession, the Lions get the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles, and Harlan's frozen in disbelief in half of a blink. Unreliable internet. He's back.
I'm frozen. I'm back now, yes.
So Ayuk gets that ball. Christian McCaffrey punches it in for the touchdown. Detroit gets the ball back. The very first play that they have, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles. 49ers recover. 49ers score a touchdown there. That was the game. That was it. There was no more. Detroit was done.
That hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, that play.
Asked after the game about the play, Brandon Ayuk says, a ladybug landed on my shoe earlier in the day, so I knew I was going to have good luck. I never heard that before.
About that play. Don't ask him. I've heard that before.
And I never heard that before. He said that, and that's what happened.
Don't ask him about that play. That hurts.
Yeah,
that hurts. There was some cries in their locker room.
Oh yeah.
And probably most of them came from Dan Campbell. He looks like the emotional cry type.
Oh, but he probably looks like he looks more like the cry scream guy. He's like screaming and crying, like snot's like coming out of his nose. He's got like big snot strands flying all over the place. So that happened. Then Dan Campbell. So we had several going for it on 4th downs, which when you look at the statistics, you say fine. Now the one that kills me, they were down 3, 4th and 3, and they passed on the 47 or 48-yard field goal attempt to go for it on 3rd down or 4th down.
I saw a statistic once again, like you said, statistics that he is only like 40%.
Yeah, he's not good
from that range.
He's not good.
And then when you talk about 4th down conversions, the Lions Detroit 70%
on 4th and 3 or less, and they were 2 for 2 in the playoffs up to that point.
So You can't blame them that much.
If you go based upon pure numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and if it was a simulation with dice rolls and random number generators and all that kind of stuff, then you say, yeah, that's probably what you have to do because you're going to be successful 88% of the time or 85% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But 85% of the time, you don't have a absolutely geeked up San Francisco defense at the time. They came back from that. They know they have to stop this thing. Like there
Yes.
was it's like the unstoppable object meets an immovable force or
Move.
whatever, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
immovable whatever there, right? That's what that was. But it was all on San Francisco's side. They were the unstoppable force and the immovable
And the
object
immovable
all at
object.
once, right? Like I don't know if there was anything that they were gonna do to complete that pass. And Jared Goff was proving once again that if you pressure him and make him move, he is not very good.
No. I oh, if that's what you feel, Dan Campbell, you just need to lose a kick off the roster.
Yeah.
That's his job.
Yep.
He's there to make that kick.
Yep.
You gotta let him try to make that kick. Everyone else on that team gets the chance to fail and perform and do their job. You gotta let that guy kick that field goal. And 48 yards is not that bad anymore.
No, there was a time 60-yarders like consistently,
yes,
right?
Yes. 50 is like if my kicker is lining up for a 50-yard, I'm like, all right, there's a chance he misses this. Anything less than 50, I'm expecting it to be automatic.
Yeah, you feel like
I'm expecting it to be automatic.
It should go through. You have a professional NFL kicker on your roster, and you're playing playoff football. And playoff football, if there's any football that tends to come down to a kick, it is postseason football. It always is.
Yeah.
The games are harder. The stakes are higher. And I'm not saying you have to play conservative. You just have to play smart sometimes. And sometimes that 3 points, like, yeah, okay.
It's 3 less points that Goff has to get you.
If they score, if they convert the fourth, then it's not an issue. But they didn't convert the fourth. So now you're literally leaving points on the field, or at least point attempts on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You gotta try there. You gotta try to tie it up because you gotta try to fight. If anything, you're putting points and you're slowing San Francisco's runaway train down just a little bit. You gotta
believe. You have to know stopping them on that fourth down is a momentum gainer.
Oh, it is a nail in the coffin.
Anytime it happens, anytime the defense stops someone on fourth down, you can feel the energy from home.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know how they must feel. So you know the offense is gonna go out there and try to give it its best to put some points up.
And that's fourth quarter.
A 48-yard field goal you might as well be giving them another field goal. They move the ball 20 yards in the other direction, it's a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
The same field goal that you passed up on, they're going for it now.
And guess what? San Francisco scored.
They did.
They scored on that drive. Let's look at the recap real fast because that was just unreal. And people are like, "Well, San Francisco missed a field goal in the first quarter." Yep, that happens, right? Like it happens. I'm not going to argue with you, but come on, yeah. So, yeah, they turn over the ball on downs. San Francisco goes 7 plays, 70 yards for a touchdown to make it 34-24.
Their backs was broken, man.
Game's over.
It's over.
Yep. And then it was left. So the Lions come racing down 11 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown and cut it to 3. And then they fail on the onside kick and the game's over. Right? Here are the Lions' second half possessions. Turnover on downs, fumble. Oh, so it goes. Here's
wait. Turnover on downs. The first.
San Francisco gets the ball, field goal. Lions turnover on downs. San Francisco, Brandon Ayuk takes off the face mask. They score a touchdown. 5 plays, 72. Next play, 1 play, fumble. Next possession for San Francisco, touchdown. 4 plays, 24 yards. Next possession for Lions, punt. They went 3 plays, 1 yard. 3 plays, 1 yard, punt. Next possession for San Francisco, field goal. Next possession for the Lions, turnover and downs, the one we just talked about. San Francisco, touchdown. Lions, touchdown. And then victory formation. That's it.
So, okay, so the first turnover on downs coming out of their first possession.
Yep.
They go 10 plays for 42 yards. They started on that was a 50-yard field goal that they opted not to go for, right?
They were 4th and 2, so that's a 28. They were on the 28, 4th and 2. So that's 28, 38, 45-yard field goal that they passed on.
That they opted, they didn't go for that
They
time.
didn't go for a 45-yarder.
Then they went that other turnover down to 7 plays, 45 yards. Took them 2 minutes to do it. And they also didn't kick the field goal. So that's 2 field goals that he opted not to go for.
And that one was on the 30, so that's a 48-yarder. Yeah. Roughly. 47, 48, 46, 48, depending on where the spot's at. Yeah.
So he's just there just to kick point. They kicked field goals. So it's not like he didn't miss one.
Yeah, they kicked a field goal in the first half. Oh, geez, man, it was from the 3. So that was a 21-yard field goal. Yeah, I guess that's where they're comfortable at, him kicking from the 3. Why have him?
Point after, yes.
Why
for
not,
the whole season?
Why not have a kicker that you can rely on to kick a big kick if you can get one?
Yeah.
Yeah, they left.
But I think that's Dan Campbell. I don't think it matters who he had in kicking the field goal.
You think if he had Justin Tucker, that he doesn't take the points there twice? That's 6 points they could have taken. They lost by 3.
Justin Tucker is. I don't think he does.
Man,
I don't think he goes for it. A 4th and 2. I think he's the type of guy that he's not looking at the points he lost, like the points they could have had. He's looking at, we need a touchdown.
All right.
Like, yeah.
Then I need to say how insane it is that they got 4th and goal from the 3 and didn't go for it when they were already up 21-7 at that point. There's only 7 seconds left on the clock. Just go for the touchdown. If you go for the touchdown in all the other situations, just if you're like, well, we can't leave these points on the field here. Why? Get the touchdown.
24-7. It sounds a whole lot better than 21-7. No,
I'm sorry. It would have been 28-7 though, right? They're 21-7. If they can score a touchdown, it's 28-7.
28-7 is old. You got to think they win that game.
Yeah. So instead they get the field goal, they opt for the field goal there. And they'll say, well, it's good enough in this situation. When they're on the goal line, they're on the 3.
And you know that they're not going to get the ball back and run it down. What?
And San Francisco,
to end the game?
What's that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They would have only had 7 seconds.
And that was
so if you don't miss, if you miss that touchdown,
they're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. So
I mean,
there's really no harm in going to that. You're right. If that's the type of person that you are, you got to go for it then versus any other time.
You have to. And the situation,
unless he was just really feeling himself in the second half because they were up.
He should have been really feeling himself there. Now, let's say you're on the 4th and 3, and let's say you run up the gut one more time, and you just don't get it. You leave it on the 2 or the 1. They still have 6 seconds left. 5 seconds left. They can't just take a knee.
They can't take a knee.
Because it's a safety.
They can't take a knee.
So they have to try to run a play. You don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
They have to try to run a play. You might force a fumble there. You might get the ball back somehow. You might
get a safety.
Might get a safety. Yeah.
Because they're going to try to run it.
And
maybe you stop them.
Safeties are far more demoralizing to a team than getting a field goal kicked on you. Right? Safety is like
it's only 2 points versus 3, but yeah.
Safety is like a systematic failure across the board, right? I don't know.
Oh.
I like Dan Campbell. I like his meatball. I like how he talks. I like that. To me he is everything when I think of
a football coach.
If you're going to cast a football coach for a movie, and Dan Campbell walks in and you hear him talk, you're like, that's it. Just these decisions. I get it. I get that it's analytics, but why is it okay in one situation and not another? And then why are you leaving points about? Why do you have a kicker if you can't trust him to make field goals?
See, the only thing is, he might be. I didn't think. I thought he was more of a gut guy. He might be an analytics guy.
He is an analytics guy. I mean,
Like he looks like to me like he goes from the gut. But a kicker who kicks 90% from that range, you might go for the field goal versus a range where he only kicks 40%.
but then he's just working
Like,
off
so he's
pure
obviously.
numbers. Then there's like no.
But that's what I'm saying. Exactly. He doesn't come across as the non-football guy, but now it seems like he's going off of just the numbers. Like someone saying, "Hey, the numbers say this is what you do."
And
Because that's the only thing I can think of. He didn't give that kicker one chance at a kick in the 40s.
yeah, outside of 20. Like like I guess he trusted him enough to kick extra points. And those are what 30-yard kicks now, right? So it's like
third, yep. That's his range. Anything above 40, he was not
then you
letting
need
him
to have a
kick it.
different kicker on your team. And then that's malpractice. That is team management from top to bottom. If you don't have somebody that you can rely on to kick a field goal, then that's failure. And if you are a coach that relies I don't care about I think relying on analytics and statistics is terrific. I mean it's smart. Why wouldn't you play numbers? But those numbers have to be balanced with game flow as well. Like you're there, you're in the know, you know what's going on.
You know the guys.
You
know your team.
how important putting points on the board in this situation is just to slow down San Francisco because San Francisco just marched all over their asses in the second half. Entirely.
The second half though, they started out with a field goal, right? So that first drive, you hold them to you hold them to a field goal. You got to think, okay, 24-10, still good.
Yeah,
we're still good. We still run our game.
Yep.
They go on a 10-play, 42 drive. That's a strong drive.
Yep.
Oh, so the drive that San Francisco did was 10 plays, 50 yards. They kick a field goal.
Yep. Makes it a 2-score game.
10 turnover and downs. Detroit 10 plays, 42 yards. They had almost the exact same drive that the San Francisco did, and they opted no field goal.
Yep. And
that's just coaching.
And to me, so like this situation here, like the 49ers, they get the field goal to take it from a 3-score game back to a 2-score game.
Yes.
Now you've moved the ball, but you were stopped. It's 4th down.
Mm-hmm.
Just get those points back. Just get the 3 points back.
Yeah.
Right? Make it a 3-score game again. I understand you want touchdowns.
And it would have been a 51-yard field goal. They probably definitely did not trust him to kick a 51-yard field goal.
You need to have a different kicker on your team because a 51-yard field goal is pretty pedestrian in the NFL anymore.
It is. And I got to understand,
but it's pedestrian.
Every one of them have the leg for 50 yards.
Mm-hmm. They should.
Right? And if he can't make it, it's usually not due to the leg. It's usually because it's going to go wide or, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The leg is usually not the problem for 58 nowadays. So if your kicker's got accuracy problems, you got the wrong kicker.
Get him out.
You got the wrong kicker.
Get a different kicker. You have to. I don't know. Like and like you said, and Dan Campbell, I respect the hell out of him because he said in the post-game presser, they told the guys, we may never get here again. He told them straight up, and that's about as honest as you can get because that is the absolute truth. Because you can have as good of a team as you want.
Great teams miss the Super Bowl every year,
and great teams sometimes never get back. Never get back. I mean,
that Arizona Cardinals team never went back.
Tell that to
those Tennessee Titans team with Steve McNair. Never went back.
Tell that to the 2010 Bears that lost to Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship game. They never went back. That was Jay Cutler's chance, and that was the game that all of Chicago learned to hate Jay Cutler because he tore his MCL in the game. They were mad he didn't play hurt. They never went back.
It's tough. There's a lot of teams that they're good for a year, and the Bengals. As much as he's young.
Burrow.
The Bengals may not go back.
Dan Marino. Tell Dan Marino.
He went
to
super
the
early.
Super Bowl when in your second year or whatever. You have plenty of opportunities.
Never happened again. Never happened again. It's tough. And to lose like that is even tougher.
Yep.
They were up. That stinks.
So now this brought out a stat for me that I thought was unreal. The NFC North, right? So ever since the NFL realigned in 2002, I think it was, to have 32
Mhm.
teams, the NFC North is 2-9 in NFC Championship games. 2-9. One
Mm.
was the Bears in 06. They won that and they lost to Indianapolis. The other one was the
I'd
Packers
have to
beating the
be the
Bears in the NFC
Packers.
Championship. So there's only 2 times the NFC North has gone to the Super Bowl since the realignment, and 9 failures. That is not very. That's not even a good percentage of sending teams to the NFC Championship. And everybody talks about,
Yeah.
oh, this is a great division. You got the Packers and the Vikings are always good. They always fail. They always fail. All of them.
They have failed. They have failed.
On the flip side, you got like the East that's got, it feels like you laugh at the NFC East constantly. Oh, they're the NFC least. But they always have teams in the playoffs and always have teams doing stuff. And it just drives
Oh
me
yeah.
insane.
Yeah, no, we do, but the Cowboys have been messing up the curve.
Cowboys haven't gone to the NFC Championship in a very
have
long
not.
time.
And neither has the Commanders. It's either been the Giants or the Eagles, and the Eagles just have been there way more times than anyone else.
Yeah.
If you're going to start talking about from the early 2000s when they went 4 years in a row,
Yeah.
there was a year in there. Well, we're not talking early. If it's after 2000 and 2000 and
2002,
Giants
yeah.
went, but 2002 on, it was Eagles, like Eagles.
Yeah.
And whether they won or not, they were there.
Yeah. Now there's somebody we have to talk about who seems to always be there.
Oh, he's been there his whole. He doesn't know not.
He doesn't
being
know. He does not. He knows less about not being there than he knows about being. Like he knows more about being there than not being there, and that is
there. Mhm.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he knows not to schedule vacation around this time.
No,
There are some people who they have vacation. They have to cancel their vacation plans because of the Super Bowl. Like, oh, my family. I forgot the Super Bowl was even this week. See, most people don't even think about. All right, February. What day is the Super Bowl? Because I can't schedule anything around that. Right? They don't even think that. They're just like, oh, okay, it's after season. I can schedule it. Right? He has to know when the Super Bowl is because he can't schedule anything around it because he's got an appointment in that game.
So this was the year, right? Kansas City is a down year. They don't have the offensive weapons. Their offense looks to be in shambles. Their defense is doing all the work. Yeah,
They lost Bieniemy, who obviously knew something that we didn't know.
Yep.
This is things that I said.
Now, and they didn't get the top seed. They didn't get the number 2 seed. That means hey, we're gonna have to play road games. We're the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't do that.
He's never had to do it. He's never had to do it. Which, and that in itself is a little bit ridiculous.
So
that he's
all
never
he
had to
does
play one.
Is he hosts the Dolphins, and they just humiliate Tua and the Dolphins. Then he goes to Buffalo, and that was such a good game, but they win. It was almost like it was like, no big deal. Then they go to Baltimore and play the best team in the NFL.
Yes.
And the best team in the NFL plays the worst game of their season in the NFC Championship. So now, Patrick Mahomes has played 17 postseason games since he was drafted in 2017. Drafted in 2017. I think that's what year it was. That feels right. 2017. Don't matter. He's played 17 postseason games. And now I see lots of people trying to come up with statistics. Brock Purdy has won more postseason games in his first 2 years, even more than Patrick Mahomes. Well, Patrick Mahomes, his first year, only played 1 game, right? He didn't play in the postseason. But I'm going to share some stats because this blows my mind. And we talked about it earlier, but I'm going to show it again. Here he is in 17 postseason games. 67% completion, 4,800 yards, 39 touchdowns, 7 picks, and a .23 EPA, which is expected points per attempt. He's almost averaging a quarter point per dropback.
Every time he throws the ball.
Every time he drops back, they're like, oh, here's a quarter point. Let's just tack him on. How is this humanly possible? This is an MVP season spread out in the postseason, and the postseason is the best possible competition that you could possibly face. They're not getting the Raiders and the Broncos twice a season in the postseason. They're not getting the gimmies like oh yeah, you get the Cardinals and the Panthers this season. None of those.
None of those.
It is Bills. It is the Bengals.
And he usually And he usually has a week off to probably prepare for them, like because he's
Some of them,
usually the number one seed, so he's not even getting like one of those teams that squeaked into the
no.
playoffs.
Yeah. Not even like, oh well, they're the
They were,
Steelers.
yeah,
They're 9-8. They
exactly,
don't. They probably
exactly.
Mason Rudolph's their quarterback. They probably shouldn't be it, but they just have an amazing coach. No, they don't even get those.
They don't get that guy,
They are getting the best of the best every week in the playoffs, and they
and he
just
just
run.
performs.
They just run. The only game they lost in recent memory, they've lost two in recent memory, right? Maybe they
They
only
lost to
lost
the
two.
Bengals.
They lost to the
They
Bengals
lost to the
in
Bengals
overtime on a field goal, and they lost to in the Super
to
Bowl to the Rams
the. Yes, it was the Rams. Yes, that's it.
on a very questionable holding call that gave him an additional a new first and whatever from the red zone, and then Cooper Cup also. And but that was a close game too, and it was like I think 3 points separated that. Oh no, wait,
Yeah, it's
no wait. The Rams beat the Bengals. That was that season.
yeah. The Rams
Who
beat
did
the
the Chiefs
Bengals.
lose to in the
Tampa Bay.
Tampa
They
Bay?
lost to
They lost
Tom.
to Tom Brady.
Tom.
Like that happens a lot.
Yes, yes. It's hard to find a team
Like,
that can't say that they
I
lost.
yeah, I don't know.
There's none. There are no teams. They beat every team in NFL.
This is their fourth Super Bowl in 5 seasons.
5 years. 5 seasons.
How gross and disgusting is that? We hated the Patriots for so long. Now
Mhm.
here's the thing.
Will Brock Purdy be out Eli Manning? Will he be the quarterback you like? He probably shouldn't win, but will he be for us? Will he in the rain?
I'll say Brock Purdy has a better offense than Eli Manning ever
That
had.
he did, yes.
Defense, though, I'd take those
Oh,
Giants defenses. While they may have underperformed during the season, whatever it
they
was when they got
can't.
to the playoffs, they just hit a run. They Joe Flacco to put on defensive side. Like I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it is Patrick Mahomes. Like, how can you bet against him?
You can't. You shouldn't.
Yeah, you're dumb if
You
you
shouldn't.
do.
He's played 17 games and threw 8 interceptions.
Yeah, not even 7 interceptions, 39 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in 17 playoff games. And I don't even know what the rushing numbers are. I'm sure it's not like Lamar Jackson rushing numbers, but I'm sure it's like,
He's got some. He's got some.
he's got 500 yards
He's got
rushing over
legs.
17
He's
games.
got
Like,
yeah.
how does that happen? Like
And
even last
maybe
year,
1 or 2 touchdowns.
even last year when it's like his knee was going to fall off or whatever, or his ankle or whatever.
Oh yeah, he got injured in the Super Bowl game and came back and still killed him.
Yes. Like, it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's so good. Like, I don't understand it one bit.
I don't either.
Now,
I don't.
here's the
I
question.
can't. Mm-hmm.
If NFL award voting was not done at the end of the season, but done at the end of the NFC, at the end of the conference championship round, going into the Super Bowl, would Patrick Mahomes be the MVP?
Easily.
Yeah, I
Easily.
know,
Easily.
right?
Every year too. Like honestly, Lamar wouldn't have an MVP because I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes was the best player and he probably won a Super Bowl that year.
But this year, Patrick Mahomes isn't even a finalist.
No, and he shouldn't be.
But here's who
But
is.
if
I don't know why I got
Yeah.
this block on my face or our faces. My face in particular, but your face as well. Do that.
yeah, if those were the people, I'd still give it to Lamar, even with the loss. Let's say that those were your actual candidates, and you still didn't pick until if you let the regular season determine who the nominees were,
Yeah.
and you picked it at this part of the season right now after the NFC the championship games,
Yeah.
I'd still pick Lamar over Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. It wouldn't be Josh Allen. It
Wouldn't be
be
Josh.
Dak Prescott.
Oh no! It wouldn't even be Brock Purdy after that pass
It
I
would be
just
Brock
see.
Purdy. Like, he has not had a very good. I mean, they've won. He's been good when he's needed to, and he's had some luck. Every quarterback gets luck, right?
But I wouldn't put him at the MVP. I wouldn't give him that award. It'd be between Christian McCaffrey and Lamar, and I'd still give it to Lamar.
All right. Yeah. I think I was gonna say let's go through all of the things here and pick our winners for the because
Okay.
we're not gonna pick the things, and I'm not gonna write these down, or maybe I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
So for the MVP, you're going Lamar. I'm going.
I'm going Lamar.
Right. So the defensive player of the year. This one's interesting. There's Deron Bland, who had a bunch of pick sixes at
Pick
one point,
sixes, the
and then
record.
disappeared for the last third of the season.
Yes.
Max Crosby, who is like one of the only two things that are positive in the Raiderville. Myles Garrett, who was a numbers machine for the first half of
Well,
the season.
two-thirds of the season,
Same
probably. Thing. The last third, it was just not.
Micah Parsons, who was pretty good. He was good.
He was consistent, but sometimes invisible.
And then TJ Watt, who led the league in sacks.
But missed like 4 games, though.
Still led the league in sacks.
This is the one that's going to be difficult for me to pick, right? Because one, there's 2 Cowboys on that list.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it difficult to me. And from a sheer numbers game, I'd have to give it to Deron Bland. He did something that no one's else ever done. Mm-hmm. And interceptions are, I think, highly overrated in terms of way of saying defense. I think turnovers in general is
there's a lot of luck associated.
Highly overrated. Yeah, highly overrated when determining whether someone is a good defender or not.
Mm-hmm.
Sacks though or not? Like sacks to me is.
I think it's tough because Myles Garrett is always commanding multiple blockers no matter where he is on the line. Always. Mm-hmm. I mean, all these guys are, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's like, what are you going to do, right?
But Deron Bland was a no-name, right? He was probably not defending the best wide receiver on the team. I bet especially early on, he was second
Diggs got
string.
Hurt, right? So
yeah, Diggs got hurt, but Deron Bland was not their number one.
No, they also had Stephon Gilmore too. So
he probably was going after the second and third one, and eventually it was like, all right, maybe we just don't need to throw at that guy anymore. And then they learned, and they eventually went away from him. But I think he was just a little bit fortunate for some of those. So I don't really want to give it to him. I like Max Crosby.
I do too.
I like Max.
I don't think he wins the award, but I do like him as a player.
But if he doesn't win the award, then is TJ Watt's award again? It's between TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, in my opinion. Then.
Yeah, Myles Garrett was my favorite going into like week 12.
I thought Micah Parsons might have been like preseason was going to be probably my pick. Like preseason award, I would have said Micah Parsons gets the defensive player of the year. But I don't think he had the season that Myles Garrett and TJ Watt had.
No.
So
he's very good though. I mean, he's a presence on the field, and you have to know where he is.
But when you do plan on him, he's sometimes not. He doesn't show up.
Yeah,
you can't find him when you run at him.
Specifically,
true. But like, have you ever seen? Can you just say to take Aaron Donald out the game, we're going to run at him? How do you take Aaron Donald? How do you take Myles Garrett? How do you take TJ Watt out of the game?
You just throw blockers at him. That's all you could do.
And it doesn't work. They just throw them around like rag dolls.
Yeah,
they're good.
They all do. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, but Mike is the only one who, when they run at him, takes him out of his game.
You know what's interesting about this is because Mike, they're all pass rushers: Crosby, Garrett, Parsons, and Watt. Right?
Yeah.
Parsons is the only one that comes from the linebacker position.
But he's a Russian. Like he's an edge. His first year he dropped back. He doesn't drop back anymore. He's an edge. He's a Kayvon Thibodeau.
But he's not a hand of the ground guy, right? He's not a 3-point stance. No. He's not a defensive end like the other 3 guys are.
That's why it should be easier because he moves around from left to right. But they still just go, okay, where's Micah at? All right, that's where we're running at, or we're gonna run away from him. And that's really all they need to do to get him because he's really dominating. But there's some times where he's not there.
Well, who are you picking?
Oh man, I gotta go. Myles Garrett was he was playing and just not absent. TJ Watt was not playing. I gotta go TJ Watt.
That's my pick too.
Because Myles Garrett was that good for 2/3 of the season, and he didn't get injured. And then the other third of the season, you was like, all right, Myles, I'm waiting for you to do something. He just did. He just stopped.
But do you remember Myles Garrett jumped over the offensive and defensive line to block a field goal one time? Like that almost gets you the win automatically somehow.
He did everything that game.
Yeah.
That game might have. You're right. that game might have been the game that wins him the award.
It might
He
be.
did everything.
That's so.
He did
That
everything.
dude's so insane. I love that guy on the field. I wish he was a Bear.
I'm gonna tell you something about Myles Garrett.
Sure.
Him and Aaron Donald's physical presence scares me.
It's frightening. Oh yeah.
They are massive.
Yeah.
And I'm not a small guy, but I see them and I go, Myles Garrett is tall, big, and less than 15% body fat.
Yeah.
Like,
15 is like
15 yes,
it's like giving a very very generous window. He might be less than 8% body fat. The guy's a monster.
Same thing goes for Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Not all. Those two guys specifically, and they throw grown men around like they were kids.
Yep.
They physically are impressive to me. It is, but yeah. Yeah, you might have talked me into the Myles Garrett thing. That game was pretty spectacular, but it was early in the season, and it was like
I'm still going with TJ Watt. He just
I gotta go.
He led the league in sacks again. The first person ever to do it 3 times.
Yep.
All right, AP Offensive Player of the Year. This one to me is tougher. This is the toughest of them all, I think.
I
think there's 3 possibilities that all make sense.
I want to give it to Tyreek Hill.
That's the one that I think should be the favorite because for the longest time can we give
MVP candidate
MVP to a wide receiver? Can we do that?
He was on pace for 2,000 yards and he didn't get it.
No, but he did get hurt though. So
he did. He did. But CeeDee Lamb really did a lot.
CeeDee Lamb had the best receiving season of a Dallas Cowboy ever.
He was the only option on the Cowboys team for most of the season.
Christian McCaffrey led the world in scrimmage yards, so
he always does.
Yeah.
Did you think he did anything different? Like CeeDee Lamb, this was his breakout year.
Oh,
right. We knew he'd be good, but I don't think we thought it was going to be this big.
It wasn't as good as Tyreek's season though, and it wasn't as good as like say Cooper Kupp's season from a few years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as Justin Jefferson's last year. Right?
But I think CeeDee Lamb had like 200-yard games this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like 250.
And he also played on a team that blew opponents out. So they weren't really throwing a whole lot.
They were early when he was blowing them out though. What did he have this year? 17, 49, and 12 touchdowns.
Man, it's a really good season.
Really good season.
I think Tyreek Hill had like 18 something.
He only had one game with 200 yards. I thought he had multiple games.
Yeah.
He had a 191 game. Oh, there were some games in there that were just downright horrible though.
From a number standpoint, but those are also games where like Prescott Dak only threw for like 80 yards, right? Because they didn't need to, because the defense scored like 6 times.
Yeah. New England, he had 36 yards, 49 when he played San Francisco, 53 when they played Dallas. These are early on. Oh, sorry, these are early games. So yeah, he then had an explosion. Yeah.
No.
I'm giving it to Tariq.
Christian McCaffrey led the league in rushing, 1,400 yards, 14 rushing touchdowns. He also had 560 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns. I don't know. He had over 2,000.
That's almost 2,000. There was a 2,000?
If he added up, let's see, 564 and 1,459, it is 2,023 yards.
Tariq had 1,799 in the air alone.
What do you do for rushing? Because he rushes too.
Yeah, he does rush on ends and arounds. I'm trying to see his rushing yards this season. His scrimmage yards was 18-14, so he obviously didn't have that many rushing yards this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only had 15 rushing yards in 16 games. He only missed one game.
Yeah, that was at the end.
I didn't feel like he missed more. Yeah.
Tweaked that ankle. It was a game and a half, I think he missed.
Yeah, but so yeah, he had 1,800 yards from scrimmage and
averaged 112 yards a game receiving. Led the league in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Had 119 receptions. I mean, he had a great season too. It's tough. It's either him or CMC. I just don't know which one.
The 13 touchdowns are impressive.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Because if I'm gonna give Lamar the MVP, I can't give him Offensive Player of the Year
no,
as well.
no, and I don't think Dak gets it. I'm gonna go Christian McCaffrey for Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go Tariq.
That's. I don't think there's a bad pick in there. Offensive
This
Rookie of the
is
Year.
this is unfortunate for Puka, but it's CJ Stroud's
It's C.J.
award.
Stroud's award. Yeah, it's unfortunate for Puka, Laporta, and Gibbs because Laporta had the best tight end season for rookie ever. Gibbs had an
Mm-hmm.
outstanding year too, but C.J. Stroud, yeah, there's not.
And Bijan, I'm sorry, you got Arthur Smith.
Yeah, he had Arthur Smith.
You got Arthur Smith.
So that one really not to talk about there. The defensive rookie of the year, though, this one's interesting.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter
Oh
started out
man.
strong, and then he played a good 8 games, then played a
Fizzled out.
fizzled out, right?
Joey Porter had a good year, I would say a really good year,
Yep.
but he don't have the. I don't think his stats gonna. I like Will
I
Anderson.
like Will Anderson a lot too. Kobe Turner had 8 sacks as a rookie from the interior.
Listen. I'm gonna say that man to his left or right
Yeah, helps
commanded a
quite
double
bit.
team.
Yeah.
So,
But they never had anybody else next to him that did that before, right?
Sue, yes, they did when they had Dominican Sue that year that they won the championship. And
Did he have 8 sacks? I don't know. Kobe
I
Turner
don't
had
think
an
he had
season.
8 sacks.
Devin Witherspoon had a great season too.
Yeah,
He's a good shutdown corner. I don't think, from a
That's
number
gonna be
standpoint,
tough.
Devin Witherspoon was my preseason pick for it. Only
I
because
liked Will Anderson. I liked Will Anderson playing. Yeah,
I think it's Kobe.
I like
I think
Joey
it's Kobe
Porter, too.
Turner, just because of the sack numbers.
because of the sack numbers.
Yeah.
I can see that. But I'm like, if I'm looking, I'm like, why were you single covered? Oh, okay, that man just threw away that 350 pounder. Maybe that's why.
But I mean, if you look at the Houston Texans, just killed the top of that draft then by
They definitely did.
taking Stroud
They
and
did.
Anderson. Yeah.
No, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
All right, comeback player of the year.
This one is weird to me.
I think it's weird too.
Because are we just giving DeMar Hamlin the award just for
Living?
playing? Because he wasn't great.
No, but the fact that he plays is like insane when you think
It
about
is. It is.
it. Are we giving it to Joe Flacco, who only played 6 games?
I don't think we can.
No.
And Matthew Stafford, he didn't do anything. Like
Stafford was a
If I-
superstar that missed the season because of injury.
because of injury. Two is about the same.
But Tua didn't even miss the whole season. Like the fact that Tua is on this list, like I'm like, why? So like Miami people must have voted him in or something like that. Because what did he do? Miss like the last 3 games of the season last year?
No, we didn't think he was going to play. Wasn't last year the concussion
Well,
year?
last year was the concussion year, but I think he wasn't out because of concussions though. He missed
I
he
don't know,
missed the
what's-
last 2 games of the season. I want to say because of it wasn't a concussion. But yeah, he did bounce his head off the turf quite a bit last year. Now,
Yeah.
I have a
I
soft
wanna
spot
give
in
it to-
my heart. 'Cause-
I want to give it to Baker too.
Mhm.
I do want to give it. He was marked for death. But I did say that if there was a team that he was going to be able to do something, I thought that going to the Buccaneers was the best decision he could have made.
It's definitely like the clear shock paddles where defibrillator paddles to
Yes.
his career, right?
Yes, they had the weapons that they needed. They run an offense and he was very good in that offense.
Mhm. Yeah,
I would have to give it to him. I'm not giving it to Joe Flacco because too short of a season. I'm not giving it to DeMar Hamlin for living and coming back and playing because he wasn't a world beater.
terrifically
Now,
inspirational story though.
very,
It's great.
very. Joe Flacco said that DeMar Hamlin needs. I'm like, Joe, shut up. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. Baker's like, I want the award. Please give me the award.
He deserves it. That
He
was
does
a man
deserve it.
who was on the Browns, takes the Browns to the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
gets hurt the next year, misses the playoffs, but plays hurt the whole season, and the Browns say, "We want Deshaun Watson."
He had commercials where that stadium was his home.
That stadium was his home. So they
They evicted him.
they unceremoniously just let him go. They didn't even trade
They
him. I don't think they just let him go.
Yep, signed with the Rams.
No, signed with the Panthers.
Oh, he did.
And the
I
Panthers
forgot about
and
that.
Matt Rule's like, let him go. Like I remember last week, I said he was lining up on the
At third string,
on a
practice
tackle
squad left tackle.
for the yep. So and then he goes to the Rams. Like he was left for dead by the Browns, who would rather throw all of their money and eggs in one bucket, which is Sean Watson, which is not proved smart in any capacity, considering Joe Flacco, the 90-year-old quarterback, is on there for the Browns on the comeback player of the year.
Well, Deshaun Watson, to defend him, he had shoulder issues the whole game, this whole season, and played with them.
Well, I mean, so did Baker. Baker Mayfield has more playoff wins than the Browns do in the last 20 years.
Yes.
And Baker Mayfield got a win for the Browns in the playoffs in his third season.
Yeah.
Or second season, or whatever it was, right? He got a win for him. And they said, nah. And then he gets that opportunity to come back this year. I just think it's Baker's, only because I like the guy. He's like the right kind of weirdo that I appreciate.
I think he's grown up. I don't know if I did like him at first. I told you he said bad things about the Giants, so I don't like him.
I mean, who doesn't? AP Coach of the Year. This one's interesting too. You got Dan Campbell, John Harbaugh, DeMeco Ryans, Kyle Shanahan,
it's tough.
Kevin Stefanski.
I kind of want to give it to DeMarco.
Yeah. Like, how can you not? That team won 3 games last year.
They did. Oh, man. But Dan Campbell, what he did with the Lions, he improved that team from where he improved that team last year.
Sure. Yep. But they weren't a 3-win team last year.
They won 9 to be all the way up to the number 2 seed this year.
Yeah. Which is
that's a good
improvement. Right. I agree. John Harbaugh is just there because he always has a good team. Like you should almost like put what's his name from the Steelers on there too? Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
Like,
yeah.
Like how did that man get 9 wins out of that team? I don't know.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, okay. The 49ers are the best team in the
best
NFC.
Team.
Stefanski goes through 4 quarterbacks, but he has like a superstar roster on defense.
I gotta give it to DeMeco.
Yeah, I think so too. So that's 3 awards to the Houston Texans. The 3 win, like Lovie Smith.
That's what happens. Though. If you hit on the draft and you get the best offensive player in the draft, then you're gonna get the best defensive player in the draft, and you get the best coach available. This is what just winning is gonna happen.
That
and they
stuff
obviously
can happen.
did that.
Yeah, you're right. I think we've said it before. We'll say it again. They did everything right last offseason, starting with the head coach and then drafting the right quarterback and all that stuff. And I'm going to say this too. If Carolina drafts C.J. Stroud doesn't have the season that he had.
No, doesn't.
Carolina had no weapons, but they also had a system. Their offensive coordinator, I can't remember what his name is, who got hired somewhere, didn't he, as a head coach? I don't know.
Who's offensive coordinator?
The Texans. What was his name? I can't think of it. Don't matter.
Yes, no. C.J. Stroud is not the same player if he's with the Carolina Panthers. No. This is the team that fired their first year coach 6 or 7 games into the season. There's no direction on that team. There's no way that C.J. Stroud would have saved them. They can't save themselves. No one could save themselves. As an assistant coach of the year?
Yep. There is an assistant. Bobby Slowick is the Houston Texans offensive.
No.
So, yeah, I think it's DeMeco Ryans. Like, I don't know how it can't be DeMeco Ryans, but I've been surprised before.
They've got both coordinators for the Ravens on this one. And I'd have to give it to Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, the OC.
I think you have to too with there too. Like they fired Greg Roman and they brought in Todd Monken. Which once you say their names like that back to back, Greg Roman, Todd Monken, there's something weird about that. Like I don't know, they sound too similar. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's about right. I guess we'll find out who's right and who's wrong. I'll remember all these picks next week. That's what I do. But we can't
Yeah.
pick our Super Bowl picks yet.
No.
There's too much
No,
that
we need
happens
something
between
to talk
now and
about.
then. We got to figure out all
Hmm.
the conspiracy theories and
Some people go to Mexico and you have weird what was it, that Raiders guy who had a nervous breakdown when he went to Mexico during the bye week and missed the Super Bowl?
I don't know. What do you like? Go to a bad donkey show or something? Like what?
He had a breakdown.
I don't remember that.
Super Bowl. Yes. Barrett Robbins
Don't
name.
remember that. Wild.
The pick, yeah. Yep. Disappeared the evening before the biggest game of his life, only to go off the grid again and again. Yeah, I think he was either diagnosed bipolar or something. But yeah, before
Hmm.
that Super Bowl game that happened, it was the early
The
2000s.
one
That
against
game
Tampa
when they,
Bay. Yeah.
yep, he just there. I think it was like an offensive lineman, just didn't show up. And no one knew where he was at.
Wild. All right. Well, I
Yep.
was gonna say we have to sign off, but we do because I don't want to. We're burning the midnight oil here. But
Oh,
we do
okay.
have to say this because I just scrolled and saw this. Jim Harbaugh was hired by the Los Angeles Chargers this last week to be their head coach.
Yep.
Now, the numbers of the contract are undisclosed, so what they truly are, no one will know. But it is believed to be that the Chargers are paying Jim Harbaugh $16 million a year.
$16 million a year.
$16 million a year.
I'd have left. I'd have left Michigan for that.
How could you not?
16.
$16 million a year. It's probably like a 6 or 7 year deal, too.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. What?
You think he went back to Michigan and said, "Can you guys match this?" Or do you think he just really wanted to bolt for and that money didn't even
I
go
think
back
he
to
wanted
Michigan?
to bolt for the NFL because of the impending sanctions that are. He's Pete Carrolling it, right? He's hopping out. Now, Sean Payton is believed to have a 5-year, $18 million a year contract with the Broncos. So it's almost Sean Payton money.
And Sean Payton's only got one. He's got a Super Bowl, I guess.
Jim
But
Harbaugh went
that's
to one.
yeah. That 18 million, I think they regret it.
I think they do too.
There's no way they could like what's going on in that organization right now. From starting at the top, like where he's
I
at.
think that organization is doomed. Doomed.
They are now. They are. They
for
are.
like decades. Like it feels like one of those things that's like this is a sort of thing that just ruins a franchise and they never get out of that dumpster fire that they are.
I just think, and I know most of the time players don't. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But I'm like, I would have to think twice about going there if they're gonna do Russell Wilson like that. They do anybody like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and why would a free agent want to go there? Besides money, that's the way you're gonna
Which
go.
they don't have any of to pay. So
Not for 2 years, not for at least 2 years.
yeah. Oh well.
And yeah.
Yeah. Jim Harbaugh, $16 million. That's a lot of moolah.
That's a lot of money for a guy who still is gonna have to face Patrick Mahomes and lose. They got to play Patrick Mahomes twice a year.
Yeah.
And then they're probably going to have to see him in the playoff if they make the playoffs.
Yep. That's a lot of money for a guy that's never won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Was kind of chased out of San Francisco for being too much.
Mm-hmm.
Was almost chased out of Michigan for being too much.
But he cheated at the right time, so it's okay.
I always feel he wears his welcome out no matter where he goes. And maybe he's mellowed out over the years, but I'm sure there will be clips of Jim Harbaugh screaming so terribly that all the gum flies out of his mouth at somebody. Now, I will also say this. Jim Harbaugh, they're like, oh, he's going to unlock Justin Herbert. Jim Harbaugh's teams are never passing teams. They're always run first teams, and Harlan's frozen. And
I will come back.
I thought, man, you had this look on your face. I'm like, he's really into what I'm saying. Turns out, no.
I have to figure out what this is, what's going on, because it doesn't happen on my other podcast. No, what does happen is my video feed does go out sometime, but it never freezes up like this.
I don't know.
So, but Yeah, it's another episode.
Yep, that's it. That does it for
Hmm.
the currently named TDs and tangents.
TDs and tangents. We had some nice tangents in there earlier.
Hmm.
We talked about some good old TDs and some not so good TDs, the like balls that bounce off your face and they get caught by the other
It
team.
was
Wasn't quite a
an
TD.
amazing play, though. An amazing series of events. I'll take it. All right,
All
well,
right.
I guess we got balance. I'm Derek.
I'm Harlan.
All right, and
Peace.
that's it.